Now let me introduce you to fur and feathers. We have this lovely picture of this beautiful fur seal here. I wanted to take the opportunity to say something about the images that I'm using. This particular image is from a wildlife magazine that was sent to me many years ago by a friend's dear mum. She used to send us the wildlife magazines for me to use for drawing. Now, pictures from magazines are fine if you're just practicing, and I have used these magazines until they're absolutely dog-eared and they're over 20 years old, and I've given them to students to learn to draw from. But I've never ever tried to use any of these images commercially, and you must be very aware that it is someone else's copyright. So by all means use things for study or for education purposes, but do not use them for a commercial purpose. Okay, so we'll start with this little fella here, and I've drawn part of it just to show you fur effects for him. Now, one of the pencils that I didn't introduce to you earlier was a 9B pencil. 9B pencil is the strongest graphite pencil you can get, or the softest graphite pencil rather that you can get. It is very dark, and I always use the 9B for the eyes, because you want to get the darkest darks in the eyes and get that good contrast. So I'll show you what I mean, because you can go straight in. Now always reserve the light when you're using a 9B. By that I mean draw a little line around where you want to leave the light in the eye, because it's very hard to rub out, and you don't want to have to be trying to get that off your paper. But as you can see, it's very dark. So we'll leave that little bit of light there that's been reserved, and just work around that for the rim of his eye. Put the dark rim in, and where the dark lid of his eye is, we'll use our 9B as well. You could use an 8B if you don't have a 9, but the 9 does seem to be the darkest, or turn out the darkest possible. A little bit of fur effect around there, and then we're going to pick up our other pencils to use. Just put that little bit of dark in there. Always remember the direction of their fur. Don't go the other direction, always make it the same direction. You're drawing your pencil marks in the same direction. I'll just get this 8B pencil, if I can find it. Oh, it's rolled under the table. Now use a flicking motion, so you get the hairs going in the right direction. So when you do that, use very sharp pointed pencil and flick like that, because that looks more like a natural hair than going like that. And work in a flicking motion, going in the right direction. And you're looking for a fur effect. You're not looking to do every individual hair. You can do that, but you'll probably drive yourself crazy. So let's just go for the fur effect. Press a little harder and get a few little darker ones there. This particular little fella, this seal, his fur, he's got darker fur coming through around his face, and then his fur is quite fluffy and white, which unfortunately is why they are preyed upon for their skins. Now if you've got a patch where it's white and you've managed to fill it up with pencil, just get your electric rubber and just flick softly, and then just go through it with a couple of little lines like that, and then you will see the fur effect starting to build. Short little dark marks. Again, very meditative doing this. Now if you wanted to darken down any area and you've put your marks on there, but you still think, oh, it needs to be a bit darker, just go over it softly with your pencil and just fill it in slightly, just to bring the tone down a little bit. There you go. And for his whiskers, when you get down to that bit, again use a flicking motion like that, and that will make them appear more natural, because hairs are thick on one end and thin out to nothing at the other end. So that's one type of fur that we can do.